Okay, good morning. I think we can start our class now. Yeah, welcome back to our machine learning class. And in this week, we are going to learn about the one other classification algorithm, which is naive Bayes. Previously, we already learned how to use the KNN algorithm or K nearest neighbors, and KNN actually one of the most simplest classification algorithm in machine learning. And we also have another simple classification algorithm, and we call it as naive Bayes. And we will see the differences between the naive Bayes and also the KNN. And there are some cases that naive Bayes can solve the problem, which is the KNN cannot solve. It's like when we have the data set that contains discrete values. It means we have the data set and the attribute is not the continuous number. It's like, when we want to classify if we want to play golf or not, by using some attributes like the weather condition. It's like rainy, sunny, or maybe something, and that attribute is not the continuous number. And the naive Bayes actually can solve the classification problem that has the attribute, and the attribute is not the continuous number. And we will see the differences between naive Bayes and also KNN in this week. Okay, so what is the naive Bayes classifier? We will start about the explanation, the basic explanation about the naive Bayes. Naive Bayes classifier is a simple probability classifier based on Bayes theorem. Because we have the Bayes term here, so we will relate this classification algorithm with the Bayes theorem. And the naive Bayes actually will use the simple probability classifier. Remember, maybe in high school you already learned about how to calculate the probability in some events, and we will use the probability calculation in this naive Bayes classifier. Okay, so what is the Bayes theorem? We have a formula here. So the P represent the probability, and the A and B are the events. P, we read this calculation as the probability that the event A occurs given by the B events. So we have two events here, A and B. Probability that the event A occurs when we give the B event. It's like, how many probability that in in smoking person, smoking people that also drink a coffee. We let's imagine that the A is the number of the smoking person. The A is the number of the people that drink coffee. A drink coffee and B is smoking. It means the probability that if we have some peoples that smoking, and how many probability that the people inside that smoking people is also drinking coffee. Okay, maybe I will use some of the illustration here. So I open Microsoft Word. Okay, let's say the A is drinking coffee. The A is the number of drinking coffee person or people. Wait. Okay. And the P is the number of smoking people. So the probability A given by B, it means if we have the number of smoking people, we calculate the probability that inside the smoking people, that people also drinking coffee. For example, we have a p equal 10. P equal 10. It means the number of smoking people is 10 people, right? And the A, for example, equal 5. So it means 50%, right? 50% of the smoking people is also a drinking coffee people. So we read this equation P, P, the probability of A given by B events. P, A given by B. Okay, so we calculate the probability inside the P, which is the number of smoking people, and we calculate the probability that the smoking people is also drinking coffee people. And based on the Bayes theorem, for calculating this probability, we can use this equation, this formula equal P B given by A multiplied by the probability of A, it means the number of A, and divided by the probability of B. Okay, you don't need to confuse about this. We will see the example when we have some cases, and we will calculate the Bayes theorem. Okay, so the most important thing, you know how to read this equation P A given by B, the probability that the A events occur given by the B events, right? The P A given by B equal P B given by A multiplied by P, the probability of A divided by the probability of B. Okay, the word naive refers to naive, strong conditional independence assumption between features. It means we will assume that if we have some features for classifying the data set, right? For example, last week we already learned about how to classify the the iris data set. So the iris data set has some features. It's like petal length, petal width, sepal length, and sepal width. And the naive Bayes theorem will has the assumption that there is no relation between the features. So we will see all of the features as the independence features. Okay, we will see the example after this. Two events A and B are independent if and only if so it means it is also the PA given by B equal PA multiplied by PB. Okay, we can just skip this equation first. I think you will be more understand if we see about the example. Okay, so this is the probability in Bayes theorem. So we have A and B, right? So the A, it means the labels that we want to classify, and the B will be the features. Okay, so for example, this is just the illustration, P, A, and B. I will remove it. Then the A will be the class that will be predicted. It's like play. On the next slides you will see the dataset for classifying playing golf or not. So the dataset, for example, play golf or not. Playing tennis or not. Okay, it means yes or no. Yes or no. So the A, it will be the class that will be predicted. It will be the Y or N, yes or no, right? And the P will be the features. Okay, so the P A given by P, it means we will see the probability that the output will be yes or no, right? So the output, the probability, the probability, it is the number in the range of 0 to 1, right? it will be the number in the range of 0 to 1. So the probability that the output, the probability that the output will playing tennis, it will be around 0 to 1, 0% to 100%. So the pay A given by P, it will be the number in the range of 0 to 1, right? Okay, so as you can see here, so the output for the naive Bayes classifier will be the probability. So if we have two different labels, yes or no, so we will have two different calculation here. Okay, so A equal N and A equal Y and A equal N. So we will have two different probability numbers or values in naive Bayes classifier. Okay, so the features, it can be the rain, it means we have weather condition, rain. If the rain comes, so how many probability that the people will playing tennis or no? Rain, it can be rain, or maybe the wind condition, strong, etc., etc. So we will see the example on the next slide. So as you can see, the Bayes theorem will have the probability calculation for each class that you want to predict. Okay, so given K class classification problem with classes C1, C2, and Ck, it means we have K different labels that we want to predict. In our previous example here, we have two different class, right? Yes or no. But it can be more than two classes. It can be a K number of classes. C1, C2, and Ck, it means the class that we want to predict. And we also have an unknown observation, X. X, it will be the data that we want to predict. X equal X1, X2 until Xn. N is the number of features in one observation. It can be a rain, the weather condition, the wind condition, strong, low, or high, etc., etc. So the rain and strong, it means the two different features, right? X is the observation that contains n different features, right? So we will calculate this equation or this formula based on Bayes theorem. So actually these are the same equation with our previous formula here. Okay, but it is more detailed, like I was mentioning before. So the Y equals Ck, it means the class that we want to predict, right? Because we have two different classes, Y and N, yes or no. So we will have two different probability values for the output in naive Bayes classifier. X1, X2, and Xn, it means the features for one observation, equal P X1, X2, and Xn given by the Ck. Ck, it means the class, the specific class in our data set, multiplied by P Y equals Ck, the probability that the Y equal specific class, divided by P X1, X2, and Xn. So you don't need to worry about this formula. We will see the example. I think if we discuss in one example, I think it will be more easier to understand about how this formula works. Okay, so the P Y equals Ck given by X1, X2, and Xn is the posterior. So this one we call it as posterior. The output, the probability values after we calculate the naive Bayes theorem, so we have the posterior. That is the probability that an observation is in class Ck given the observations values X1, X2, and Xn. Okay, and on the right hand side here, the P, X1, X2 and Xn given by Ck is the likelihood. So we call it as likelihood of an observation's values given its class Ck. Okay. And the P, X1, X2 and Xn is the evidence or the marginal probability of X1, X2 and Xn. So this one is the number of probability that the features has a specific value for the X1, X2 and Xn. Okay, so I think it will be easier to understand how this naive Bayes theorem works. So we can just skip this slide and we can just go directly into our example. So these are the example in our data set. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 different features: outlook, temperature, humidity, and wind. Outlook, it means the weather condition. It can be sunny, overcast, rain, and also sunny, overcast, and rain. We have 3 different types of outlook. And for the temperature, we have hot, mild, and cool. It also 3 different types of temperature. And for the humidity, we have high, normal, only 2, high and normal. And for the wind condition, we have weak and strong, only 2 different wind conditions. And for the playing tennis, it will be no or yes. No or yes. So this is the labels that we want to predict, right? And we have the data set like this. All of this data set has a labels values, a string values, not the continuous number. If we compare with the KNN algorithm, we cannot use the KNN algorithm for classifying this data set because these are not the continuous number. And this is the data set that we have, and if we have a new data set or new observation that we want to predict, if there is another data set and the outlook condition is sunny, temperature is cool, humidity is high, and the wind is strong, and what is the labels or the output that will be predicted? It is will playing tennis or not, right? So this is the output that we want to predict. Okay, for calculating the probability by using the naive Bayes classifier, first we need to create a table here. So we have the outlook table. We call it as the outlook table because in the previous data set we have 3 different types of outlook condition: sunny, overcast, and rain. We have 3 different types of outlook condition. So we right here the sunny, overcast, and rain, and we see the number of the sunny, the outlook the outlook condition is sunny, and for our previous data set here we calculate how many condition that the outlook is sunny and it is also playing tennis equal yes. We have 2, right? We can just calculate manually. We see the condition, the outlook condition equal sunny, and it is also playing tennis. This one, right? Sunny and yes, 1, sunny and yes. We have 2 events or condition in our training data set that the outlook condition equals sunny and it is playing tennis, right? So we just write here 2, right? And we also see the condition, we also find the sunny conditions that is also not playing tennis: 1, 2, and 3. We have 3 different conditions that the outlook equals sunny and it is not playing tennis. Okay. And we also calculate for the overcast and also rain, right? And for the total, because we have 14 observation in our training data set, it must be 14. If we add the 9 plus 5 for the playing equal yes and playing equal no, it will be 14, right? So we calculate the MLE estimator. How to calculate the MLE estimator? It's very simple. It is very simple, right? So the P the P condition, the probability that the outlook equal sunny and playing yes, it will be 2 divided by 9, right? 2 divided by 9. 2 divided by 9, yeah. For the outlook equal overcast and playing equal yes, yeah, it will be 4 divided by 9. For the outlook equal rain given by playing tennis equal yes, yeah, it will be 3 divided by 9. And we also calculate for the playing tennis equal no. Yeah, 3 divided by 5, 0 divided by 5, and 2 divided by 5. And this is the probabilities using the MLE estimator for the outlook features, right? And we also calculate the MLE estimator for other features. It's like temperature condition, hot, mild, and cool, right? It is similar with our previous explanation. So we calculate, yeah, the number that the temperature equal hot and playing equal yes, it will be 2. Hot and playing equal no, it will be 2. Yeah, we can just look in our previous slide here. The temperature is hot and not playing tennis, 1 and 2, right? Yeah, only 2, right? So for the playing tennis equal yes and the temperature condition is hot, 1 and 2, right? So we calculate, yeah, the MLE estimator for the temperature condition. Because we have 4 different features, that's why here we also calculate for the humidity and also wind features. After we calculate all of the MLE estimator, yeah, so for the new observation, this is the new observation. If we have the new data set that we want to predict, yeah, the outlook equal sunny, the temperature equal cool, yeah, the humidity equal high, and the wind equal strong. Then for calculating this naive Bayes formula, yeah, so we multiplied, yeah, the probability that the playing tennis equal yes. The playing tennis equal yes, yeah. We can see that we have 9, yeah, condition, yeah, in our previous data set, yeah. The yes condition, yeah, and the yes output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, 9 divided by 14, right? Because we have 14 observation in our training data set. So the probability that the playing tennis equal yes, it will be 9 divided by 14. 9 divided by 14. And we also calculate, yeah, the MLE estimator for sunny condition, the outlook condition equal sunny and it is playing yes. It will be 2 divided by 9, right? Sunny and yes, 2 divided by 9. Cool and yes, yeah. Cool and yes, 3 divided by 9, yeah. And also high and yes. High, yes, 3 divided by 9. Strong and yes, 3 divided by 9. So we calculate by simply multiplying this MLE estimator and also the probability that the playing tennis equal yes, and we have a 0.0053. And for the playing tennis equal no, yeah, because we have 14 different events in our training data set, so it will be 5 divided by 14, and the probability of not playing tennis is 5 divided by 14 multiplied by sunny and no, yeah, cool and no, high and no, and strong and no. Then we have 0.0206. So the probability based on Bayes theorem for these new observations, yeah, the probability that the playing tennis equal no, yeah, is higher than playing tennis equal yes. So this data set will be classified as no, because 0.0206 is greater than 0.0053. And for this new observation based on naive Bayes classifier, it will be predicted as no. And we also have the MAP estimator, yeah, MLE estimator and MAP estimator. What is the differences? Yeah, it's very simple, I think. So for the MLE estimator, actually we put the number here 3 and 4 based on our training dataset, right? So if no, then if if Outlook equals Sunny and playing tennis equal no, yeah, then we calculate, we count it manually for our training dataset, and we have two conditions, right, for the MLE estimator. For the MAP estimator, we can just simply add one values for every table right here, for every conditions in specific features, we just simply put or simply adding with one values. For the Outlook features, 2 and 3. For the MAP, it will be 3 and 4. For Outlook condition equal overcast, 4 and 0, this is 5 and 1. Why we put one values here? Because there is a probability that the MLE estimator will result as 0 values. For example, like this: Outlook equal overcast and playing equal no. The probability of the Outlook equal overcast given by playing tennis equal no, it will be a 0. If you calculate the Bayes theorem, if there is one values that contain 0 values, so the output will be 0, right? So it is better if we use the MAP estimator, because we simply add one values for every condition, and there is no probability that we get a 0 values for the output. And that's why here we put one values for every condition in every features. Okay, so based on the MAP estimator, we also get the higher values for the playing equal no, so it is a 0.0182, compared with a 0.0071, and it is still predicted as a no for this new observation. Okay, maybe you have any question for the Bayes theorem? I think if we look for the example, it will be easier to understand how does this naive Bayes classifier works. I think this is very simple, because if we know the formula, this is the formula for calculating the naive Bayes classification. So this is the basic theorem for the naive Bayes. This is the basic formula in naive Bayes, but actually if we look on the example, so this is how that formula works. Okay, and for the implementation in Python, it is like the KNN algorithm, so we don't need to code from scratch. We can just directly use the library from scikit-learn for implementing the naive Bayes classifier. Okay, I think that is the part 1, naive Bayes part 1, that I can explain, and we will continue for the next part, which is the Gaussian naive Bayes. But before that, I think we need a 5 minutes break, and I also give you the information related for the quiz. So the quiz will be held this afternoon at 18:30. So you need to prepare yourself, and you can work everywhere. You don't need to go to campus at the afternoon, so you can work on your home. Then don't forget to record your screen during the quiz. So you also need to upload your recording files on ULS, only in the link. Then the time, it will be 2 hours for the quiz. Okay, so we will take 5 minutes breaks. So we will continue our discussion at 7:42. Okay, maybe for the next week, what if we start our class at 8? So 7 maybe it's too early. So only 2 students that already on the class. So maybe next week, start from next week, we start our class at 8 until maybe until 10:40 ya, 10:40. 8 7:50 until 10:40 ya. Okay. I think you don't have the class at 9:45, right? So it will be okay. So next week we will start our class at 8 ya. Okay, so we continue to the Gaussian knife bias. If x1, x2, and xn are continuous variables, then assume that the conditional distribution of x1, x2 until xn are normal. So it means we can also be able to use the naive Bayes classifier for classifying the dataset that contain the continuous number. And we use the Gaussian naive Bayes for predicting or classifying the dataset that has the continuous number in the features. For example, we change the values for the temperature features into a continuous number. For example, 85 80, I think this is in Fahrenheit degree, yeah. And for the humidity, 85, 90, and so on, we change the number or the values for the temperature into a continuous number. And it is possible for use the Gaussian naive Bayes for classifying this data set. And it is a bit different for calculating the P, the probability, the probability of xi, given by y equals ck. So it is, the differences is on the MAP estimator and MLE estimator. So we don't use the MLE estimator and MAP estimator for classifying the dataset that contains continuous number. But we use this equation or formula for calculating the probability, that replacing the MLE or MAP estimator. 1 divided by square root of 2p sigma ck. Sigma it is a standard deviation, and exponential, minus xi, minus mu ck. Mu it means the average values or mean values for specific labels, or for specific features, square divided by 2 multiplied by sigma square ck, sigma square it means the variance, sigma is the standard deviation, sigma square is the variance, mu ck is the mean values of xi for which y equals ck, and sigma square ck is variance of xi for which y equals ck. Okay, so we will see the example here, how to calculate the MLE estimator by using the Gaussian naive Bayes. So we calculate, if the P, this is the new data set or observation that we want to predict, if the temperature equals 66 Fahrenheit, for example, and playing tennis equal yes, so we use this previous formula, 1 divided by square root of 2p multiplied by 6.16. 6.16 is the standard deviation of the temperature, right? 6.16 for the playing tennis equal yes, 6.16 is the standard deviation for the temperature given by playing tennis equal yes, exponential values from minus 66, minus 66 minus 73 square. 66 it means the temperature values, for this new observation, and 73 it means the mean values, the mean values is 73 for the temperature given by playing tennis equal yes, divided by 2, 2 is the constanta, multiplied by 6.16 which is the standard deviation square, and we have a 0.03, 4 and 4. And we also calculate for the playing tennis equal yo for temperature equal 66, and we also calculate for the humidity, for playing tennis equal yes and no. Then we go to the naive Bayes theorem, so we can just change the values for the temperature and also humidity, and we use this formula, P sunny given by yes, by using the MLE estimator in not continuous number calculation, so we use this same formula for calculating the playing tennis equal yes and given by we have a probability that outlook condition equal sunny given by playing tennis equal yes. So this one and this one, is still use the previous formula here. Okay, but if we have the continuous number, we can just change the calculation by using the Gaussian distribution, Gaussian naive Bayes, right? And as you can see here, we have the probability that if we have this data set, this observation, so the probability for the playing tennis equal yes is 0.000362, but for no is equal 0, 0, 1, 3 and 6, so it is still greater than playing tennis equal yes. So for this new observation, it will be classified as no. Okay. Okay, so that's all for the basic calculation in naive Bayes. By using the naive Bayes and also Gaussian naive Bayes, we can just go to the implementation by using the Python and also scikit-learn library for implementing the Gaussian naive Bayes. In this example, we use the Gaussian naive Bayes. We don't use the naive Bayes, but Gaussian naive Bayes, because the dataset that we will predict contain the continuous number for every features. We use the same dataset with our previous class. We use the iris dataset, but in this case we use the Gaussian naive Bayes for classifying this dataset. Okay, so we can just directly implement this code into Google Colab. So okay, you can open your Google Colab, then we directly implement this classification problem by using the Gaussian naive Bayes. Okay, so new notebook. Okay, naive Bayes. Okay, so first we need to import the dataset from scikit-learn. From scikit-learn.datasets, import iris, import load iris. Then we create a variable for getting the dataset. So load iris, right? And then we create a x and y for the features and also the labels, iris.data and iris.target. Okay. Okay, we already load the dataset and put that on x and y variable. Then we split the dataset into training set and also testing set by using the scikit-learn model selection. This is the library for splitting the dataset into two parts, training set and also testing set. Okay. And then we define the xtrain, xtest, ytrain and also ytest equal train test split. Train test split from scikit-learn.model selection, import train test split. Then we put the first argument as x, y, then the test size equal 0.4. It means 40% for testing set and 60% for training set. And for the random state, I put equal 1. So this is how to splitting the data set. Okay, execute this cell. Okay, we already split the data set into training set and testing set. Xtrain and ytrain will be the training set, xtest and ytest will be the testing set. So the next one, we start the classification process. So we use the scikit-learn also from scikit-learn naive Bayes. From scikit-learn naive Bayes, import Gaussian NP ya, Gaussian NP. It means we use the Gaussian naive Bayes for predicting or classifying this dataset because it contains a continuous number ya. All of the features in iris dataset contains the continuous number. Then we also import scikit-learn.matrix for assessing the performance for our Gaussian naive Bayes ya, and we use the accuracy score ya, and GNP equal Gaussian NP. It is a variable for getting the models from Gaussian naive Bayes. Then we start the training process by calling the fit method ya, gnp.fit xtrain, ytrain. This step for start to training process ya, and we create a new variable ypred. It is for getting the classification result ya for testing set ya, equal gnp.predict, and we use the xtest ya. Then we calculate the accuracy equal 100 multiplied by accuracy score, because the accuracy score will result the values in the range of 0 to 1, then we multiply it by 100 ya, then we will get the percentage of the accuracy. Y-test, we compare the y-test and y-pred. Y-test will be the ground truth ya, the actual values ya for our testing set ya. Then we print the accuracy percent 0.2 f, so we only put 2 digit after comma ya, after point. Okay, we get 95% of accuracy, which is, we can just say this is a good accuracy ya. But if we compare with our previous algorithm KNN, I think KNN can get more than 95% ya. It's around 97% if not mistake ya. So for this data set ya, we can say that the KNN is better than Gaussian naive Bayes ya. But actually Gaussian naive Bayes ya, naive Bayes actually can solve the problem for the dataset that contain non-numerical values or non-continuous number for the features, right? But in this case we use the Gaussian naive Bayes. Okay, you can just try to implement this code on your Google Colab ya. I will give you maybe 5 minutes ya, then we will continue our discussion at 8:05 ya. Okay, the next one is we will see the correlation coefficient between each features in our data set. Actually, this is the thing that I already explained on our previous week when we discussed about the KNN, but we can just review it again. So based on the assumption that, like I was mentioning before at the beginning of this class, that Gaussian naive Bayes or naive Bayes will see that every feature has the independence, so every feature is not correlated, right? And that's why here we will try to use only the features that has the highly correlation between other features. But before we decide which one of the features that we will use for classifying the data set, the thing that we need to do is see the correlation coefficient between the features, right? So first we need to import the NumPy library here. Import NumPy SNP. This is the library for getting the correlation coefficient between the features. Print correlation between sepal length and class. Okay, np dot core coefficient x, 0, which is the features, the first features features number 0, which is sepal length x 0, y 0, 1. I think this is I already explained it on our previous class when we discussed about the KNN. You can just paste all of this code. We can just change this one into okay. So we execute this cell. Okay, so this is the correlation between the features with the output, right? The features with the output, and we see that the last features, which is the sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. The last features, which is the petal width, has the highest correlation with the output, 0.95. But if we see the correlation between the features with other features, we can use this code. We import, we use the np.core coef x, row var equal false. Okay, so this one is the code for seeing the correlation between each features, not the features with the output, but for each features. Okay, so as you can see, the correlation between sepal length and sepal width, it will be minus 0.11 something, right? Sepal length with the petal length, it will be 0.87 and something. So the first column is for is the correlation between the sepal length with sepal length itself, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. For the second column, it is representing the correlation between sepal width, with sepal length, sepal width itself, with petal length and petal width, and so on and so on. So we have the correlation matrix here. And as you can see, if we compare every columns, we can just ignore the minus notation here. We can just simply adding all of the numbers here. 1 plus 0.11, 0.87, and so on and so on. And as you can see, I think the third column, the third column, it is the highest, the features that has the highest correlation with other features, right? So because based on the assumption that the naive Bayes classifier assume that all of the features is the independence features, so we only use the third features, the third features, which is the petal length, because this is the feature that the highest correlation with other features. So we don't need to use other features because this one actually has the highest correlation with the other features. And for implementing only the third features, we can just copy this code and okay, then in this case we only use the xtrain, colon, comma 2. It is a bit different with the slide, because in the slide we use the fourth columns, which is the only petal width, but in this case we only use the petal length, okay. So xtrain, and for the xtest is also similar. Okay, so we calculate, so we get the highest accuracy, if we use all of the features. Okay, so what happen if we only use the fourth columns or the fourth features, which is petal width, because the petal width is the feature that has the highest correlation with the output. Okay, so this one we change it into 3, and actually we also get the same accuracy. Actually you can experimenting with yourself, so which one is the features that has the highest accuracy. So for example, this one I use only sepal length, sepal width, sorry, and it only get 56 of accuracy. And if we only use the sepal length, so it will be 71.60% of accuracy. So features number 3 and 4 are features, the last two features, petal length and petal width, actually is the highest features, the feature that the highest accuracy if we use it for classifying the Gaussian knife bias. And what happen if we use that two features, for example this one I use only petal length and petal width, for example this one 2 and 4, because we use the 2 and 4, we use the third and fourth features, 2 and 4, wait a minute, 2, I think this is enough, 2, only use the last two features, we also get the same accuracy, but it is better if we only use one of the features, which is petal length only or petal width only, because it will reduce the computational cost, if we only use one features for classifying something, it will be faster, if we use more than one. So this is how the Gaussian knife bias work, in this case it is similar, if we compare with the KNN, the accuracy is not it's similar, it's not has high differences, or high gap, between the KNN and knife bias. And these two algorithm actually is the most simplest, the simplest algorithm in classification problem. Okay, I think you can implement this code on your Google Colab, If you have any question, we can discuss it. Okay, I think that's all for our class today. Do you have any question before I end this class, maybe? So you can use the time for preparing yourself for our quiz this afternoon. And if you have any problem during the quiz, we can discuss on Google Chat group, but you are not allowed to discuss with your friends while you working on the quiz. Okay.